Hello everyone, it is the Rangers Review pre-match show. We're back, season 25-26, and we're slightly late, not because of logistical difficulties, Chris, no lighting issues, no problems our end, but some transfer news we will get straight into. You can read Chris's exclusive update on the website, right across all our social channels too, on Oliver Antman, with Rangers having had a bid accepted for the go-ahead Eagles winger. We told you yesterday that that move was more likely than one for Raksaki after Crystal Palace knocked back an offer from Rangers last week, and Rangers now turning their attention to the Finnish winger. Chris, we'll get into the football and all that stuff after, but bring us up to date with what you've just written about Oliver Antman and where we're up to with this one.
Yes, as I say, Josh, it's not a fact that I'm late at Fir Park. It's not a case of we have technical difficulties for the first time ever. We actually have a proper update to delays on the video. So as you've got outlined there, we understand that Oliver Antman is now very, very close to becoming a Rangers player. A deal round about £3 million, €3.5 million. Rangers are obviously really keen to try and get that one over the line, as you outlined in that piece that you had on the site yesterday. We reported on the site over the last week, 10 days or so, that Antman was a player that Rangers were interested in. We know that wide areas are a real area that Rangers have to add a bit of strength and depth in. Yeah. If you can get a deal for Antman over the line just a couple of days after adding Mikey Moore, a couple of weeks after adding Gassama, and you think of the impact that he's had, Rangers certainly looking a bit stronger in those areas. So I think, fingers crossed, this is one that will be completed in the coming days, as we've outlined on the site just in the last 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, obviously, Chris, Mikey Moore was added yesterday. I think it was yesterday morning, wasn't it? He's not in the squad today, unless I've read it wrong. So why don't we get into the team, and then we'll recap a little bit at the end of the show, and obviously we'll have more of an in-depth chat about Antman post-match too. Rangers line up for this game against Motherwell. They make one change from midweek. It's Jack Butland in goals, a back four of James Tavernier, Nasser Giga, John Souttar and Max Aarons, Joe Rothwell, Nico Raskin and Mohamed Diamande in the midfield. Kieran Dowell, Danilo and Jeji Gassama makes his first start in Rangers colours after 2 goals in 2 games against Panathinaikos. Chris, as expected, really, there wasn't going to be that many changes, even though it was an energy-sapping night in midweek, and this shows why Rangers don't just need Oliver Antman, but this is a squad that still needs a bit of depth, particularly in those forward areas.
I think the only change was always ever going to come in those wide areas, and it was a case of Gassama had to come in. He had to start this afternoon. It was just a case of does Dowell drop out, does Finlay Curtis drop out. I think the way the manager spoke about Kieran Dowell after the game in midweek showed where he's at right now. He's not going to be a long-term option on that right-hand side. Certainly, if Antman comes in, or Moore, his international clearance has not come through yet. Rangers really pushing for that to try and get him involved in the game at the weekend, and try and get on Tuesday night, against Pilsen. Still trying to get that one through. So the wide areas are an issue for Rangers. It's no surprise that Gassama comes in. He had to start after that impact he had on after he had done right in Athens. So good to see him get a start. The rest of it almost picks itself. You have to say it's a fairly strong bench. Obviously Cortez, people will debate how much he can bring, but you've got Cortez here, you've got Dessers here, you've got Barami, who's looked okay so far. Well, Cameron will go in, and also Curtis here as well. So the squad looking a wee bit healthier, but I think that's definitely that's probably the strongest 11 that Russell Martin can field right now.
Yeah, Davey asking any update on international clearance for Mikey Moore. Russell Martin said at the press conference, confirmed yesterday in the press conference. Derek and I mentioned on the show yesterday, but given the fact that Moore isn't 18 till later this month, he's obviously an under-18 player, and that can lead to the international clearance taking longer to be confirmed, even though he's only moving from England to Scotland. All that stuff, yes, I know, but Russell Martin confirmed yesterday in his press conference that Rangers were still waiting to hear when that would be confirmed, so perhaps he'll get asked on that post-match. But the bench, as you mentioned there, Chris, is Kelly, Cortez, Barron, Dessers, Bayrami, Cameron, Chefdate, Fernandez and Curtis, and there's a few options there, isn't there? But I guess the fact that, a Cameron or a Barron or a Bayrami or a Cortez doesn't come in shows that, as Russell Martin said yesterday, Rangers still need a few players. He mentioned this in relation to the left-back spot. He said, look, Max Aarons isn't the long-term option there, but, Chefty's on the bench, Ridvan Yilmaz isn't involved. He will be allowed to go if Rangers can find a buyer, and Rangers would like to find a buyer for him this window. And Kieran Dowell too is a player who Russell Martin has been complimentary of for really the whole pre-season and recent games as well, Chris. We'll get into a little bit post-match about what type of player Oliver Antman is and why Rangers have been so interested in bringing him to the club. But that's probably the two positions looking at that team at the moment that you think Rangers need to address to improve their starting 11. They need someone more natural at left back. I still think they need another centre back, but they need that right winger to really stretch the game and give a bit of natural width out there too, don't they?
I think people have to realise the very early stage of this project. A lot of people don't like the project word when it comes to Rangers, but Russell Martin is only in the door 5 weeks. He's done a lot of work in that 5 weeks. He's won a European tie in that 5 weeks. The team that he started in Athens, the team that he's picked this afternoon, that's not going to be the team that finishes this transfer window. That's not going to be the team that lines up against Celtic at the end of it, or that we're going to see mid-September. There's still a lot of work to be done on this squad. As the manager has outlined again yesterday, as we've reported and we've spoken about, a lot of players still need to move on, even from that squad today. You look at the guys that could potentially move on. Dessers' situation is still very much up in the Dowell, we're still not sure he's got a long-term part of it. Who knows about Nicholas Raskin as well, perhaps a bit of movement in terms of his situation as well. And that's before you get into your Davies, your Matondos, Igamanos, a big one not in the squad, but a lot about him. There is still so much work that needs done on this squad, so I think people have to be almost keep that in mind. Yes, they want Rangers to win and play well and do all the good things straight away. Not everything good is going to come straight away, and I think it's important that people have a bit of understanding about the situation that Rangers are actually in right now.
Yeah, I guess just finally, Chris, obviously the game is happening as well as all this transfer news and squad building, and what will Rangers squad look like a month today? Your predictions? It's pretty warm, I think, in Motherwell. Surprisingly, not as warm as it was in Athens in midweek. This is a huge game for Rangers. There's positivity after getting through in the Champions League, but domestic football is where I think Russell Martin will live or die this year. Just your kind of impressions. Motherwell under new management, someone that Russell Martin knows well, having played with the Motherwell manager too. It's just such a significant game because Rangers have tended not to start seasons very well in the last couple of years.
They certainly haven't. Now you think back 12 months ago, Tynecastle. Before that, it was that day down at Kilmarnock, and those afternoons just they burst the balloon. They take all the enthusiasm and all the excitement out the support straight away. Now you can't win a league on day one. You can't lose a league on day one, but you can give people a real idea of where the team are and potentially where they're going. Michael Beale never really recovered from Kilmarnock. Philippe Clement never really recovered from Tynecastle. Russell Martin doesn't want to fall into that trap. He needs to get off to a good start. And you look at the fixtures that Rangers have coming up, these opening weeks of the season, there's a real chance there to build a bit of momentum. Even if you take the European aspect of what they could do in terms of the Champions League, take that out of it. The first couple of league games, heading into an Old Firm game at Ibrox, there's the challenge for Rangers. Can they go and win these games, and can they start to build a bit of momentum and do what they've not done in recent seasons?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll leave it there if you're just tuning in. The update, Chris's exclusive update, about 10-20 minutes ago, just before the teams were announced, or just after rather, that Rangers have had a bid accepted for Oliver Antman. Not totally done yet, but moving in the right direction to add the Finnish winger. So keep an eye on that and read the update in full on the website. We'll be back after the game, about 15 minutes after full time. Something we'll be doing more and more in this new season, bringing you live full-time reaction with myself and Chris and Derek. And others right from the grounds, right where Rangers are playing, right after the games have finished. If you are not a subscriber and you enjoy watching, please subscribe for free and like the video. It really helps us. And of course, to read all the best Rangers journalism every day, head over to therangersreview.co.uk/subscribe. We'll leave it there. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching it, and we'll speak to you after full time. Bye for now.